who can guard the three-point line the best. Both of them average almost 9 threes a game, especially for Mercer, led by Hall as well as Anthony White Jr.
They go inside for Anthony White Jr. with our officials today. Tom O'Neill, 4 Final Fours. Don Daly, 7 tournaments. Gerald Pollard, his 12th NCAA tournament.
Point-blank alley-oop. Anthony White Jr. just missed it. The jitters still remain. Let's see if they can get him out in the next couple of minutes.
Screen by Jefferson, who now gets the ball out to Thornton. And they swing it out. Suleiman. Rashid Suleiman.
How about the ball movement there by Duke? Recognizing the double down low on Jefferson. You kicked it out. Wide open shot.
And that's a hit outside. Anthony White Jr., a senior from Pike High School in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Redemption pretty early. White missed that easy alley-oop and knocks down the triple.
Rodney Hood, who has been a terrific transfer for the program. With the whistle inside, it was claimed by Parker, and a foul called on Mercer in there. With the clock at 18:55, and it goes on White for the first time.
Tell you what, Hood is going to be a load for anyone defensively from Mercer because of that ability to get to his left hand.
Duke has won 12 of their last 15 regular season games coming out of the ACC.
Duke has been outstanding over the last several years despite losing each year. A mainstay because they keep reloading with guys that you don't really hear of, but they turn out to be outstanding players. Suleiman, terrific three-point shooter, 41% on the season.
2 consecutive reps to start the game.
Well, didn't we say who's going to be able to guard that three-point line better? Corsi with the low post turnaround left hook, and that's the one thing that Duke has always been, especially this season, very difficult because they don't have any true low post threat defenders down there, Lynn.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't have a shot blocker in the middle, you've got to really pressure the perimeter so that you can't make the easy entry passes inside. And right now, Mercer, another mental mistake.
Corsi turns it over. Corsi had scored at the other end for Mercer. They're in Macon, Georgia. Mercer 26 and 8.
That's the last thing. If you're Coach Hoffman, you can't have mental mistakes against Duke. You got to play a perfect game. You've got to get loose rebounds. You cannot allow Duke to get second and third opportunities at the basket. A very efficient offensive team.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Plenty very efficient Duke offense.
They're the second most efficient offensive team in the country next to Creighton. And you can tell these guys can score from anywhere on the floor.
Parker going up and fouled on the play for the at-large team. Duke at 26 and 8 coming in.
It's all about ball movement as well. Double down low, ball swings to Suleiman, knocks down the 3 in the corner. And then Jabari Parker, the most outstanding freshman this season.
And you saw 2 different ways that these guys can score. The extra pass, which forced the help to come a long way, or they beat you off the bounce one-on-one.
Langston Hall picked up a foul for Mercer at the free throw line. Jabari Parker, 74% from the strike.
How about Parker recognizing that Hall was on him, the smaller defender, just took it a couple dribbles, brought the contact, and shot over him.
Coach K was a little worried about the Mercer experience.
Yeah, I mean, Mercer is going to have to figure out a way to quicken the pace. Duke puts that full court pressure, and it seems like they're thinking about it instead of trying to break the pressure and attack it.
Driving a slip. Anthony White Jr. Thornton picks up a foul. Then the little school from Macon, Georgia. And the first time they've been in the tournament, guys, since 1985.
And look at that second point right there. Only Division I team to start 5 seniors. You talk about having a luxury with that type of experience. And they got one guy who's played a ton of games. And that's Jacob Gallen. This is his 154th NCAA game.
You know, that's the second most played by a Division I player in history. David Lighty of Ohio State has the all-time record, but you're right. Gallen, a senior out of Stevens Point, Wisconsin, has had a long, long ride. There was a travel called on that play.
Yeah, but with all those seniors, you're already seeing some of the jitters of being under the bright lights of the NCAA tournament already. Couple turnovers, and again, you can't allow, even though they're a young Duke team, they're the more athletic in terms of experience in the Blue Devils.
Here comes Hall. with a shove, and it's on Duke down the side. 16:45. Suleiman will pick up his first personal.
Yeah, we talk about the size differential. It's not only that, it's the athleticism differential right there. Nice job, Parker, going to the baseline and then getting position. Didn't get the basket, but you want to be able to continue to move on the offensive glass. That's the great offensive rebound secret. Constant movement.
Bud Thomas checks out for Mercer in is Ike Wamu.
Another turnover by the Bears. And this is exactly what Duke wants to do. They want to press you and get out in transition. Look at Jabari Parker, 6'8", really 6'8.5", 240. And it's been the turnovers early on in this first half by Mercer, which has allowed Duke to get out in transition. Active hands leads to easy buckets at the other end.
And Mercer is going to have to recognize that every pass has to be net, because Duke is so adept at shooting the gap and beating the receiver to the ball. If you don't meet that pass, you're prone to turn the ball over a lot.
Anthony White is now out with the 2 fouls, but Thomas takes his place in a turnover right there for Duke.
Terrific foot movement by Bud Thomas. That's what you call playing defense with your feet, getting to the spot instead of merely reaching.
Actually, I believe that was Gollum that got around there on Jabari Parker. And you're right, man. Active feet there, because you got to be quicker to the spot. They're starting to settle down here for Mercer.
Langston Hall hits the shot, leading scorer, leads him in assists. He averages 14.5 points a game.
And now Mercer has dropped down to that 2-3 zone here, trying to stop some of that size advantage that Duke has.
Suleiman hit a couple of early threes. Thornton's got the ball for the Blue Devils in the ACC, finishing their season 13-5.
You're playing that 2-3 zone. You got to have a dynamic guy right there under the free throw line. A guy who can turn and face the defense, read the back line middle guy, and take it from there.
Gowan. Thomas. He works on Hood. Corsi with the screen. Good feed.
And you got to convert those in. As you know, especially on the roll for a big guy, when you get a bunny like that, you got to be able to convert.
I think he was surprised by the foot quickness of Jabari Parker, who got there to the spot just in time, and he tried to avoid. Of course, he tried to avoid the charge.
So Mercer comes the other way. They've won 4 straight, 8 of 10. Their last loss was back in late February. Trying to go inside. Hood jumping up, knocking it away. And a timeout and 14:51 to play in the first round.
Oh, leading scorer for Mercer is going to have to put a lot of the offensive load on his shoulders today.
Hey, Rachel, 35th game during the season. You're not a freshman anymore. And he knows that.
Well, what better way to grow up as a freshman than to stand up in front of your peers when you are the best player, Rodney Hood aside, and give your advice. That goes a long way in the locker room.
Ike Wamu hits that one right there, coming off the bench, the sophomore from Greensboro.
That's right. Leadership knows no age, man. It's all about how you present yourself.
Now Mercer in the 1-3-1 zone.
Longest shot by Suleiman won't go. As we told you before, a couple of early threes, and he can't hit that with a possession. Duke's ball.
Take a look at the ball movement right here. Just an easy entry pass to the wing, and the rest was putting it on the floor and taking it to the spot you want to. And again, one-on-one skills with Duke. As they play man-to-man, you need that direly.
Trevor, Parker, and they had 3 defenders kind of cramming him on that baseline.
Look at Ike Wamu. Telling you, Kev, you call a lot of NFL football. This kid could be a fullback. Made that last bucket there for Mercer Bears. Built like a tank.
Got some size. A transfer out of Cleveland State. And on top they go to Corsi. And well, that could be an advantage for Mercer in this afternoon's game.
Yeah, I was talking about the one-on-one skills that you need when you spread the floor and you want to be able to beat Duke off the bounce. You want to keep the floor spread so that their help leaves a long way to come.
That's a treble right there. Fans, reminder, watch live games on your Amazon Kindle, Android device, iPad, iPhone, or computer with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today. So Duke has had 6 consecutive misses. Nothing from the floor has fallen for the Blue Devils in the last 4.5 minutes.
And right now, Duke with a smaller lineup as Jabari Parker gets a blow. This is an opportunity to start to use Corsi a little bit.
Andre Dawkins is coming for the Devils.
But they got to, if you're Mercer, continue to move the basketball from side to side. You've got to move Duke. They're too good defensively in a one-on-one situation. You've got to get the ball moving from side to side and then try to get the ball down low to Corsi.
Josh Hairston with a little elbow there picks up the foul for Duke.
And that's what I'm talking about. Corsi in the mid-range area puts it on the floor, attacks aggressively, and forces Hairston to stick that arm out. Corsi's got a sizable size advantage over Hairston, and I think it's really time for him to start to assert himself.
Popping the 3, fouled is Hall. He'll go to the line with 3 coming his way.
He's changed his role on this team. He was more known as a primary distributor, but the offensive load, according to Coach Bob Hoffman, they wanted to get him more of a scoring role, especially with these guys that are a little bit more offensively challenged on this Mercer team.
He's an 85% free throw shooter, Lenny.
Yeah, he is, and that's the biggest reason why Coach Hoffman has to get him involved in the offense, because he can. You take a look at his numbers right here. I mentioned earlier he was a pass-first kind of point guard and kind of reluctantly put in a position to have to score. And he's averaging almost 15 a game. The next highest scorer is Daniel Corsi at about 10 per game.
And he has about 6-7 assists a contest as Jefferson for Duke picked up the foul.
And this Mercer team, they score almost 80 points a game, so they're very efficient offensively. They can handle running with Duke, but who's going to be able to stop that three-point shot?
It's Cook, a wide-open triple.
Duke's so good at tipping back. Again, sometimes they don't have the size advantage, but the quick jump gets them an opportunity to tip it back to their guards, and that's the perfect time to shoot the 3.
That stop is 7-0 Mercer run. That's pick pocket Cook. Defenders there to the rack.
Easy buckets. From turnovers to get out. To me, Quinn Cook is going to be the key for this NCAA run for Duke. He has to play well on a consistent basis. It's been up and down this season, but when Cook plays well, this team is a different element.
He's got 5 early points.
Yeah, they're going to have to recognize. They're going to get better passing angles. Duke does a great job of taking the passing lanes away.
Take a look at Duke's last 2 bucket. Offensive rebound, tip back to a wide open Cook, and then Cook at the defensive end, just overplaying Hall here, comes up with the steal here.
And that's what I was talking about, getting a much better angle to pass the ball. Duke obviously needs those second chance opportunities. They love to increase the possessions. They got 5 offensive rebounds thus far.
Hood picked up the foul. So far, 13-7 in favor of Duke. And Kevin Convanari will check in for Mercer. And also coming in is Jibri Bryant, sophomore from Savannah. He'll take the place of Batas.
Now a much smaller team on the floor now for Coach Hoffman and Mercer, which will allow them to go to that 2-3 matchup zone.
And don't underestimate this team, Mercer's second unit. They get 30 points on that bench. So not only do they play a different brand of defense, one that kind of stymies offenses from time to time, but they can put the ball in the basket.
Dawkins with the 3 try. He's the #1 3-point shooter in the ACC. Loses his footing and Cook retrieve.
And another offensive rebound for Duke. They're 6th in this first half.
And you know you can't afford to give Duke any extra possession because they will cut you.
Another miss by Dawkins. They fight for it down low. It's picked up by Bryant. He has the rebound. Wamu. Bryant repositions. Wamu. And retrieved inside by Emil Jefferson. He's collected 4 rebounds so far.
You couldn't have asked for better ball movement by Mercer. Just couldn't seem to knock down the shot.
But talking about Emil Jefferson, he's their best rebounder. Had 7 double-figure rebounder games this year. And when he can get double-figure rebounds, Duke is 7-0. So he's a barometer for Duke's success.
His offensive rebounds we were just talking about have led to almost twice as many shots for Duke, and that's a three. And it's put in by Ramu. He's got 5 coming off the bench.
And now they drop back to the 2-3 zone. Here's the problem when you're in a zone. You don't have man-to-man responsibilities. As we've already seen, offensive rebound has been a problem in this first half.
Duke is shooting 31%, and Mercer is shooting 55%. Cook, the 3. Well, Cook averages 11. He's got a couple threes and already 8 quick ones for Duke.
And Duke really scoring from the perimeter kind of unconventionally. They haven't really gone inside out. They've been passing around the perimeter, quick passes, and that's gotten the jump shooters open.
Well, Lynn, their best low post scorer is getting ready to check back in the ballgame in Jabari Parker. So that's the reason why they haven't had a lot of inside threats, is because their best player has been on the bench.
The big lead for Mercer 3, for Duke 4. Brown picks up his first. Second round from Raleigh on CBS. And so far, the three-point shooting at Duke has been a story.
Certainly has. That's what's obviously kept Duke at tie with Mercer. And how important are offensive rebounds? For Duke, very important. They're shooting 35% overall from the field, but they've got 6 offensive rebounds and 7 second chance points on those offensive rebounds. Now they've got 7 offensive rebounds.
Marshall Plumlee has come in for the first time for Duke.
Shooting poorly, but nevertheless a second chance opportunity are keeping them tied.
Sometimes your best offense is an offensive rebound, put back, or for Duke's sake, a 3-point opportunity.
Yeah, getting another chance, you're right. Parker's on the side. Suleiman's up top with Cook. Plumlee the screen. Corsi with the bump. Shot clock is at 5. Suleiman.
What a first half today here for Rasheed Suleiman. 3 threes already in this first half, Lynn.
I tell you what, though, you pay attention to the scouting report, you realize how terrific a shooter he is. Once that ball went to Cook, why step off and leave? He's standing outside. You're not going to be able to help from where he is, so why leave him at all?
Second chance points. Lenny so far, 10-0 goes back to the offensive rebounding at Duke and cashing in. At the free throw line is Daniel Corsi, the senior from Savannah. The second foul goes on Thornton.
Suleiman, 38 made threes on the season, already 3 in this first half today.
Duke 19 consecutive NCAA tournaments as Hood comes in, but for Rodney Hood, this is the first time he's been in the NCAAs.
Well, Rodney Hood, an outstanding player, and having played at Mississippi State, certainly wasn't thinking about getting a chance to get to the NCAA tournament, and his transfer to Duke just about changed his world.
Working on Hairston's head.
Hood's been real quiet here. Let's see if they can get him going offensively. Usually you need both Parker and Hood to play at a very high level. It's been nice that Suleiman has picked up the offensive slack here.
9 to go, first half. Cook. Suleiman, this time he weaves inside. Cook is open for the triple. And the rebound is lassoed by Bud Thomas. Langston Hall back in, launching the 3.
I don't mind that, but Hall's going to have to be a little bit stingy at the offensive end.
Can't leave that man.
Not while he's in a rhythm. The 4th made 3 by Rasheed Suleiman.
Suleiman has got 12, only player in double figures, and that gives Duke their biggest lead this afternoon. Taking on the 14th seed Mercer Bears.
Tell you what, Cook is all in the shorts of Langston Hall. What a pass.
Corsi, you're right, and it was a good pass by Jake Gollum.
Outstanding penetration by Gollum, reading the defense. Took what they gave him. They cut him off, and he delivered it to Corsi nicely. And that's what you have to do against Duke. You have to be aggressive.
Corsi has really good hands as Hood knocked down his first shot of today. These guys are unbelievable shooting that 3.
7 of 14 is Duke to start from the floor.
Well, this is today's Duke basketball team. They are outstanding from beyond the arc. You've got to be able to crowd them, make them put it on the floor. That's why the zone, I think, is something you got to come out of. You got to go back to playing man with a lot of help.
Thomas and Wamu and Corsi out there along with Hall. Wamu's got the ball. Down low, Gowan. That's the 5 on the floor right now for the Mercer Bears. Here comes Marshall Plumlee with the hedge. Corsi inside, working on Parker. And Plumlee, and the foul.
It's been all about the three-point shooting today for Duke. 7 of 14. They averaged 9 per game already at 7. Suleiman has 4, and Hood scratches on the scoreboard with his first.
Hood just picked up his second foul for the Devils. Timeout Raleigh.
Certainly that will mean that guys like Hood and Parker can match up and go at them in one-on-one situations, but I'd rather have them shooting the 2 with a challenge than shooting the wide open 3.
Well, on the season, Mercer has only given up 30% shooting from behind the arc. Already today, 7 of 14. So you're right, they got to come out of the zone, but you got to pick your poison. With Jabari Parker, Hood, excellent one-on-one defenders. It could be very challenging if you're Coach Hoffman and Mercer.
But again, I would rather challenge them, and they are a man-to-man right now. I'd rather challenge them to make 2s than to give them wide open 3s because they shoot it so well. The other thing that man is going to help is cut down on the offensive rebound. Because against that zone, Duke is getting second shots galore.
It's Hood outside. Parker the screen, the triple. It's the 15th they've tried. Yeah. They've hit 7. And Duke in the shot attempt category has taken 23 to Mercer's 12.
And that was a contested 3 because of that man-to-man defense.
Gowan, 3. Oh! Parker, rebound.
Don't you just hate it when it hits everything but go in?
The bottom of the net, yeah. 6.5 to play in the half. Jabari Parker. Tipping. Try Jefferson once and twice. Another offensive rebound.
That's 2 on that one shot. And, you know, you think man-to-man would allow you to block out and go after, but Duke is such good rebounding position.
Parker's got 5 boards. Screen by Jefferson. Hood to Jefferson.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Duke working a little harder offensively against the man than they did against the zone, where they were getting wide open 3 looks.
It's a 3. Parker launches. And Corsi picks it up. Duke's had a sizable rebounding advantage, 17-8 so far. Corsi in tight.
That's back-to-back baskets that's gone in and out for the Mercer Bears. And it's those opportunities when you're playing a higher-ranked team, especially if it's a road game for you, even though this is a neutral site, you need those buckets for your confidence to go down.
You got to shake it off, man. You miss it like that, shake it off. You can't think about it on the next trip.
It's a defensive foul, goes on Bud Thomas, who picks up number 1. Rashid Suleiman, a Duke, has put in a game-high 12 for the Devils and 5:17 to play in the first half.
How about this? Parker Hood, a combined 2 of 10, but yet you're up 5 points, and that's all because of Rashid Suleiman's shooting from behind the arc.
So out there, Cook and Hood, Parker, Jefferson, the inbound from Suleiman, the Duke foul.
But as you can see in the man-to-man, the last couple of possessions, Suleiman hasn't been able to touch it. White Jr. doing a pretty good job in denying.
Parker. When he gets ahead of steam, get out of the way. That's the ACC Freshman of the Year and nationally the Tisdale Award winner. Corsi picks up number 1. With Parker at the line, get the most complete coverage of every team in your bracket and the tournament's best moments with the Team Stream app from Bleacher Report. Fuel your passion with Team Stream on your iPhone, iPad, or Android device today.
Talked about for Mercer, Langston Hall being a little bit more stingy offensively. He only has 2 field goal attempts. Again, he's the leading scorer for the Bears at almost 15 points a game. But once you get to the bright lights of the tournament, that has to increase a little bit. He's got to be more aggressive offensively at attacking Suleiman and Cook at the offensive end.
That's a good point as Matt Jones, a freshman, Lenny, checks in for Rodney Hood.
Yeah, and that's what Duke has been able to get away with. Hood with 2 fouls. Mercer never really went at him to try to pick up that 3rd.
Nice pass. Good pass indeed, and Gowan Fisher gets it to go in. 5-point game, under 5 to play in the first. Suleiman, Cook, open short Jones.
You see how much ground Anthony White Jr. covered to contest that shot in the corner. Multiple efforts at the defensive end.
Which you need against this team.
Absolutely, because they have so much firepower at the offensive end.
Big gun for the Mercer Bears. Hall with 5. 1 and 2.
Holland could have picked up a foul on Jabari Parker if he just would have went up in him.
That's a long 3 with 3 to fire. And this by Bud Thomas. That's a Duke foul. Jones, number 1.
Well, we're going to take a look at the screener action. Right there, you screen. He comes here. That's where the screen occurred. And once that screen occurred and you get somebody open, one more screen at the top, and you get a wide open layup. And what Mercer's been able to do with that constant motion and back screen is get cutters. And when Duke doesn't communicate, that's when they blow assignments and guys get wide open shots. And that's what Mike Krzyzewski told us yesterday. Their defensive lapses are caused by lack of communication.
Monty Brown. Cannavaro is checked in for Mercer. Leonard is in the contest. Philip Leonard is a sophomore from Tulsa. Darius Moulton. And that's the Bear 5. They just make a mass substitutions with under 4 to play in the first half.
When you mentioned this Mercer Bear team, they averaged about 30 points off that bench. Coach Hoffman likes to keep fresh bodies on the floor at all times.
Suleiman wheeling in. Jefferson cleans it up.
What is that, 8 offensive rebounds in this first half today?
Yeah, I think there's a tendency to overhelp with Mercer, and consequently, nobody is on the glass.
Good pass inside. Brown caught it, but Lenny, look at the second chance points by Duke.
That's why Duke has a 7-point lead and gotten the opportunity. And this is one guy who's been the beneficiary of those second chance opportunities. Kick it out, tip it back to Suleiman, the conqueror.
He did okay with some of the questions, but he had a hard time keeping his balance, so they told me they are going to sit him for a little while here, guys.
Great. Thank you.
Every sport now has that concussion protocol as Wamu goes up for the alley-oop out of bounds. And you talk about a skywalker, Ike Wamu, climbing the ladder.
But Parker getting up higher and picks up his first foul, but really fun play to watch.
Well, Parker was ready for it.
Yeah, he was.
But, Wamu, he said, I can get up a little higher.
There's Wamu. So some of the numbers that are interesting. The free throw shooting for Mercer now is 8 of 11. For Duke, 3 of 4. Duke is plus 15 points shooting the 3 with plus 9 rebounds. And so on those second chance points, and we were just talking about this going to break, Lenny, it's 12-0 Duke on the second chance.
Yeah, and that's been a major thorn in the side of Mercer. You know, they're doing such a good job of helping out, but sometimes they forget and leave the rim uncovered. And Duke gets great position on the offensive glass.
Of course, he is taking the place of Brown. Jefferson's on top, approaching 3 to play. Duke is shooting 34%.
Now you have Suleiman as well as Dawkins both running that baseline, 2 3-point shooters.
Good rotating Suleiman on the wing with 3 to fire. The miss by Dawkins, and out of bounds. Well, Miss getting your brackets in. It's not too late. Join the Capital One NCAA March Madness round by round game. Now at ncaa.com/round-by-round. Here comes Langston Hall from Chamblee High School in Atlanta, a senior. On the doorstep, Bud Thomas.
Not known for his offense. Thomas with the nice little move down low. The hesitation which froze the defense. Mercer starting to make a little comeback here.
They're within 3.
And Thomas takes advantage.
You got a Greg, of course, Nebraska former Big 12 team, now in the Big 10. 4 overtime games yesterday. Terrific watch. How about Adrian Payne continues the strong moves for Michigan State?
And we were going to have a quiz. Which of the 3 remaining North Carolina teams But Reggie, you got the answer. Duke, Carolina,
and NC Central.
and North Carolina Central.
There
Out of
we go.
Durham, right down the road. Congratulations to LaVelle Moulton and his squad.
Hood hits the three from outside. He's got 6, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc.
8 of 19 already in this first half today for Duke. They average about 9 a game. And if you're going by season, how much they've had as WAMU knocks down an 18-footer. Their season high is 15 made threes at Syracuse this year.
WAMU averages 8, and he has got 9.
The only problem that Duke has had is there are times when they get 3 happy in a drought, and that allows teams to get back in the game.
Parker, count it. Get up high, knocked it away. 11 points for WAMU. Watch it from overhead. WAMU is 4 of 5 to start the game.
Well, a loose ball, a deflection. WAMU makes this a leaping contest.
That was close. Very close if you're Jabari Parker.
I thought he was going to throw it down, and I guess next time he will. Jabari Parker right up there with him.
Nice little spark here by the Mercer Bears.
Hood and WAMU's on.
And again, you will not see Mercer in that zone too much more often because the man-to-man is working.
What gave Duke trouble this season when they were either hitting or not hitting their threes?
Well, again, they got 3 happy when they hit droughts. And instead of getting higher percentage shots, they would try for the threes. And when they're missing, that allowed the other team to get transition opportunities.
Gollum, Jake Gollum, in his 6th year. It's an 11-3 run by Mercer with under a minute to go in the first half.
And see what happens when you get confidence. Your defense starts to pick up. You become more energetic. You get into those diving and cutting lanes, and your rebounding becomes more efficient.
Cook picked up by Hall. Here comes Hood. Gowan is on him. Thomas was defending. Cook. Thomas goes back out on Hood. Rebound, Jefferson feeding Parker, doubled and down. Jabari Parker.
Second chance opportunities are absolutely keeping Duke in the game and killing Mercer.
Hall, Thomas, the 3, Suleiman, good if it goes. And it was close as we have hit halftime. This will surprise some, others it won't. Mercer is the Atlantic Sun Tournament champion, the number 14 seed, and the first time they have been in the tournament since 1985. Duke is playing in the 19th consecutive NCAA. Parker. Outside. Big hit, Quinn Cook to get things going. Cook has got 11. He averages 11 a game.
And that's exactly how Duke started the first half, knocking down threes. Cook getting this second half off to a good start. Their 9th made 3 today.
And it finally goes in with Corsi now with 8. We apologize for the audio problems.
Tell you what, nice move, nice hands down low by Corsi. Not only to catch that basketball, but to come down with the proper footwork, feel the contact, and still be able to convert.
That's a travel as Jefferson was going through the lane. Let's now take a look at Behind the Stats presented by LG.
Now it's up to 12 points in the paint with Corsi knocking down that first bucket here of the second half. But something going forward as you look at Mercer, and Lynn, you talked about this, that size really disrupts Duke. I'm looking at Monty Brown in the first half. Remember, he was the young man that took that hit to the head. He came out and didn't even warm up with the Mercer Bears. He has a couple earplugs in his ears. I think he's going through that concussion phase right now. I don't think we'll see him in the second half. So we should get a heavy dose of Daniel Corsi in the second half.
Hall with a 3. Langston Hall, Atlantic Sun Player of the Year. He's got 8. He averages just under 15 a game.
Well, you talk about ball movement, unselfish play. That one play epitomizes what Mercer's trying to do and what they're all about.
Cook and Hood. Suleiman hit 2 early threes. As they fight inside. Clutched onto by Thomas. And moments ago, Hall beat the clock.
Well, it really was all about Garland's drive to the baseline. The pass outside to a wide open shooter. Look how quickly Duke is going to close. But then again, that one extra pass, the guy who was on Hall closed, and then they found Hall wide open.
Suleiman gets it off. Jefferson caught and traveled as Garland moments ago picked up the foul. And Jefferson has the turnover.
Back-to-back walk-in there by Emil Jefferson. Just a little bit too much of a rush to get to the basket. He's going to have to slow down when he gets that ball in that paint area.
And speaking of rush, Duke can't get Hall to rush. He's taking his time. He's handling the ball nicely.
Corsi from Langston.
And delivering the mail on time.
7-0 run for Mercer.
And it's all started with Daniel Corsi and his ability to control the paint area. Something that's been the downfall for Duke all season.
Cook the triple.
And Lynn, they're going to what you said. They're starting to get 3 happy. We heard Charles at halftime say you live and die by that 3-point shot.
Parker was pushed inside for Duke, and the foul will go on Corsi for the 2nd time.
And Lynn, you can appreciate this. Good footwork down low for a big man. You get good position down low, and you got good hands. It's always a good recipe, especially for big men as talented as Daniel Corsi.
Here's the ACC's 2nd leading scorer, who averages 19 a game, Jabari Parker, but has 8. He's the #1 leading rebounder, Lenny, in the ACC with 9 rebounds a game, and Parker has grabbed 5.
And Reggie, going back to what you said, yeah, I appreciate the footwork, but even more so, I appreciate the penetration, drawing all the defenders, making an easier shot.
And it needs to be stated right now, Jabari Parker, Rodney Hood, a combined 4 of 15 from the field. The 2 leading scorers for Duke.
Back and forth it goes. Garland comes up with it in a Duke straitjacket of defense, and a foul on Duke and Parker, #2.
This is one of the elements of an upset. The underdog getting to the 50-50 balls.
Good point.
Mercer jumping on it right away and draw the foul, but that ball was up for grabs, and Mercer right now putting forth the effort.
Wamu is checked in. Thomas will take a breather for the Bears.
And another thing to watch in this building as this game goes forward and it stays close. Remember, we got Tennessee and UMass up next. And the crowd is going to start to change because they always cheer for the underdog.
Shake Garland reeling in. He's got 7 points. He averages 8 a game.
So the orange is indistinguishable, huh?
Absolutely. Between Gollum and you've got Ike Wamu off the bench from Mercer, contributing offensively.
Mercer has hit all 4 of their shots to open up the 2nd half. Cook on top. Duke has started the 2nd half 1 of 4. It's Parker in his way. That's an offensive foul. In his way, Anthony White Jr. Parker's got 3.
What a great defensive decision there by Anthony White Jr. Look at Parker here as he picks up his third foul. That's what you call taking the charge in the chest.
Full front. And that's the case with Jabari Parker of an outstanding player trying to do too much.
This is huge. You got Parker on the bench, only 9 points, 2 of 8 from the field, but 3 fouls.
Wamu, Gowan, under 16 to play.
Well, maybe this will light a fire under Hood offensively to kind of get him going with Parker on the bench.
Well, but that's the problem with a young team. Jabari Parker, as great as he is, he's a freshman, and they go down 3, and he feels like he's got to do it by himself.
How do you get an underdog team to actually believe that they can slay a powerhouse like Duke? Mercer's Bob Hoffman told me last night he did the usual coach's trick, showing his players lots of highlight clips of them making shots, just give them that visual confidence of the ball going into the basket. But then in his pregame speech today, he told them, quote, "None of you are going to be the best player on the floor, but you can be the best team on the floor." And he told the guys that is enough to win.
That's exactly what Mike Krzyzewski told his Duke team because of the senior leadership of Mercer.
Yeah, both valid comments. And right now, Mercer I don't think Bob Hoffman has to tell him anything anymore. They're in this game to stay.
There's Bob Hoffman, who began his career as an 8th grade coach. He was elevated then to the women's team as a head coach at Southern Nazarene. He played his college basketball at Oklahoma Baptist. He's in his 6th year, and he is a firecracker, and he has been terrific for this Mercer program.
Out of all 8 practices that all 3 of us viewed yesterday, to me, his was the most spirited. When they really went through the workout, like they were preparing. Like a lot of teams just go through it because they don't want to give anything away for the game the next day. These guys were going hard in preparation of Duke.
Cook had picked up his foul moments ago for Duke, and a drive inside. There is another Duke foul with a hard drive taken inside. Gowan was the one taking it in 15:27 to play in the second half. Jefferson, Lenny just picked up his 3rd for Duke.
Yeah, and that's tough because Emil Jefferson has done a yeoman's job on the boards. 10 rebounds, including 6 offensive rebounds. But Mercer feeling more and more confident.
Gowan at the line. First round coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championships begin tomorrow, 11 a.m. on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN3. And for more information, game times and listings, go to NCAA.com.
To finish that point, Mercer more and more confident because they now are being aggressive to the basket. They're not settling for jumper.
Jefferson remains in with the 3 fouls. Suleiman, he bumps into the defense. Mercer's on an 11-2 run right now. Biggest lead of the game.
And how about Mercer now starting to get to those and close to those 3-point shooters as Thornton knocks down the long range, the 10th of the day for Duke.
It's a takeaway. Thornton on the wing. Dennis with Gowan in the rebound. Hounded by Suleiman. It's loose and Suleiman has pickpocketed him. The drive, the congestion, and the foul.
Well, where is Duke getting it done now? At the defensive end, especially with Jabari Parker on the bench with those 3 fouls. It's been all about their guards and their activity at the defensive end.
Corsi picks up his 3rd.
Well, you give Anthony White Jr. a lot of credit with the defense, but Duke, I talked about it a bit ago. They weren't getting to the 50-50 balls. They must have heard me, man, because they're going after with a vengeance. Outstanding chasing down that ball and getting an opportunity at the line.
And there's with Parker, Reg, on the bench.
Yeah, Suleiman has been fantastic, though, offensively. And it really started with those 4 made threes in the first half. I think his activity really at both ends, especially the defensive end, has really been huge for Coach K.
Bud Thomas and Dennis Morton come back in for the Mercer Bears. School located in Macon, Georgia. They won the Atlantic Sun Tournament. They're 26-8, 14th seed.
And just like that, a 5-0 run for Duke to tie this ball game.
Even the man-to-man pressure doesn't seem to phase Hall a bit.
Percy on the doorstep. Wamu collects it, offensive rebound. Screen by Corsi, knocked out Hood, doubled his Wamu. Langston Hall slithers and feeds.
And that was blocked by Emil Jefferson. Nice recovery there.
Suleiman the other way. Game's 6th tie.
See if they can get Rodney Hood going offensively.
Hood into Moten. And that is a foul. It is called on Darius Moten Jr. and he picks up number 1.
Boy, you hope that you don't go back if you're Mercer and look at these 2 shots and realize that these opportunities, might have cost you the ball game, but 2 point-blank opportunities at the basket, 1 block, 1 miss. You just can't afford that.
Foul issues right there for Duke.
Here's a question for Coach K. When do you bring back Jabari Parker with those 3 fouls?
T.J. Hallis has just come in for Mercer. Knocked that ball away right there. From Philadelphia, Emil Jefferson. It is picked up by Jibri Bryan. He's got 3 rebounds.
Now with Hall and Anthony White Jr. on the bench for Mercer, who steps up offensively?
Moten the 3. Jefferson the rebound. He's in double figures now, Lenny, and that's a good sign for Duke.
That's right, Duke 7-0 when Emil Jefferson is in double-figure rebounds.
You see the shooting. Approaching 13 to play. A 2. Cook. They get a 3.
That was an NBA 3 there, Kev. Cook, Suleiman getting it going from downtown for the Duke Blue Devils, and it looks like Jabari Parker at the scorer's table. That's a lot of trust for a freshman from Coach K.
8-0 run right now for Duke.
Here's where senior experience has to pay off. And that's an answer right there.
Now they're going to their 2-3 zone. Remember in the first half, Duke really shot them out of that 2-3 zone. Maybe some adjustments at halftime by Coach Hoffman to talk out where the shooters are.
Rodney Hood, a dynamic passer and shooter in this zone, right at the sweet spot.
And we know that they're used to seeing zone going twice against Syracuse in their conference. Travel there by Cook.
Cook with the travel. A turnover for Duke. They've got 8 so far in the game. It's a 1-point game. And 2 efficient teams offensively. The long 3 here by Cook at one end to put Duke up 3, and Moten off the bench knocking down the 18-footer. Jabari Parker just comes in for Duke, taking the place of Emil Jefferson. Mercer shooting over 60% from the floor in the second half. Duke at 37% in the second half. Pass down low. Parker defending.
See the problem on the floor without Daniel Corsi, and we talked about Brown probably not playing in the second half. Where are you going to get those inside points, those bunnies from?
Well, first of all, you know, they can't be afraid of the size of Duke. That was a rush job instead of sizing up the defender, putting a little arc on the ball. It was just a contest to see how quickly you can get it up there, and that's not going to work.
Hood into Harris with a Mercer foul. 11:45 to go here in the second half.
And welcome to the tournament. Obviously, all eyes are going to be on Jabari Parker. A little bit of frustration here. Probably trying to do a little bit too much. The leading scorer for Duke. Talked about everything he can do by being able to shoot the basketball with distance. But the Mercer Bears have done an excellent job of getting up underneath him, Lynn.
Yeah, Jabari Parker may be the story of inexperience, but the story of experience is Mercer. This is what makes mid-major teams, so-called mid-major teams, so tough, because they have seniors on that team. Prior to that last Mercer bucket, Duke was on an 8-0 run, but they found a way to go time and score, work to get a good shot, and kind of stem that tide.
Wamu picks up the foul as Suleiman hits the deck. Mercer right now in the midst of their first cold streak of the game. They haven't scored in about 4 minutes from the field. It's Parker over Corsi with another miss. We're talking about patience at Duke earlier on, Lenny.
Yeah, and that's the point that I made with Mercer. They took the patience to come down and really work to get a good shot in the midst of that 8-0 Duke run.
Corsi.
There's the inside points by Kersey. That low post threat. Coach Hoffman does a good job of putting his best low post player down. Now they're down to that 2-3 zone. Careful of those corners of Suleiman and Cook knocking down threes.
Points in the paint, 16-6 in favor of Mercer with a Duke turnover right there. That is number 9 for them. Duke only 6 points, Lenny, in the paint all game long.
Yeah, well, you know, you recognize the size of Mercer has bothered them, but the opportunities they've had from beyond the arc have been too good to pass up.
White, the double team Corsi. Parker on it. Rebound by Hood.
He turned the wrong way.
Had him baseline.
Yeah,
he had him baseline.
Hood, Suleiman.
Why not? Why not? His 5th made 3 today. Offensively, with the struggles of Rodney Hood, Jabari Parker has been all Rashid Suleiman.
He's got 17, 14 for Cook, 12 for Corsi, leading Mercer inside. Beautiful floater by Langston Hall.
And that's what I'm talking about. The seniors don't back down. Duke is really putting on a show from beyond the arc, particularly Rashid Suleiman. But of late, Mercer has an answer, and they're doing it methodically, and then they're doing it with poise.
All sticking with Suleiman. They're sneaking inside the double team Parker.
Oh, that's tough. But once again, good hustle to get that second chance. And Duke has been living off a second chance opportunity.
They have not shot the ball at all particularly well from the field. But what they have done is because of these offensive rebounds and second shot opportunities, that's what's kept them alive in this game.
Duke with 15 offensive rebounds. Cook with the dance. Hood with the move. Cook will cock and fire from three.
Here we go, double. Let's go. Here we go, Duke.
Quinn Cook, 5 threes, new career high for him. He's got 17. Rashid Suleiman's got 17, two in double figures for Mercer.
Duke plus 27 from beyond the arc, and yet you're only up 3.
Wamu, wild of traffic, under 9 to play. Rotating, Gollan, 3 off Cook with the rebound. Duke has made 13 threes today, 26 launched.
But again, despite just a 3-point deficit, Mercer's got to be careful. They're in danger territory as Hood misses that shot, because Duke has gone on a roll once before, an 8-0 run, and they are capable of doing it again unless you come down, make a stop, and then on your end, utilizing time and score, work to get a bucket.
If you would have told me that Duke, Jabari Parker, Hood combined 4 of 19 in an NCAA game, I would have told you they would have been down by double digits. Give a lot of credit to Cook and Suleiman.
Here comes Duke the other way. They're 4 of 20, Lenny. Duke is 4 of 20 on 2-point tries this afternoon.
Yeah, they haven't taken very many of them, and most of them have been point blank under the basket, and Corsi, the Atlantic Sun Defensive Player of the Year, has been there.
Suleiman fanning right there.
And speaking of him, you got to get the ball down low to Percy, especially with Emil Jefferson guarding him.
Right, and he doesn't have to shoot it. He just has
Make
to
him
touch
collapse,
it.
yes.
Make the defense shift.
Gollan. Got it.
And one.
The nice play there by Gollan, but I'm going to tell you what made that move was Daniel Corsi and his ability to seal Emil Jefferson down low. Nice concentration there by Gollan, going to the free throw line to try to tie it up.
We're going to take a look at the thing that's eye-catching is 0 second chance points for Mercer to Duke's 20. And I tell you guys, I cannot remember a game where a team won the game and getting 0 second chance points.
Well, they have a shot, and the reason why is they're shooting 53% from the field to 35% for Duke. Now, they're getting killed on the offensive glass and rebounding as a whole, but they're a +5 from their free throw line, so they're being efficient offensively, but they've got to be able to shore up the rebounding.
With the midst of our 8th tie, here comes Suleiman around the Hood screen. Cook, Parker down low, Thornton outside. That's the Blue Devil 5. Approaching 7 to play in the second half. Hood, the Mississippi State transfer. Cook, the 3.
They are too far off the shooters of Duke. I know Hall is out there trying to help against Rodney Hood, but you've got to be at least an arm length away from the defender.
Cook has knocked down 6 threes.
Well, look at the range those guys have.
Parker watching Corsi.
Oh, you got to make
Oh,
it.
what a
There
putback
it is.
there by Anthony White.
First second chance opportunity
Just out of your
made.
mouth.
And the degree of difficulty there by White Jr. That left-hand tap in.
So now if Mercer wants to win this game, they're going to win now. They got their second chance point.
Hood, the 3. Rebound by Langston Hall.
14 of 30, Duke is from beyond the arc. Now remember, their season high is 15 at Syracuse this season.
And boy, you at that game, you thought it was raining threes.
Here comes Gollan. And nobody got in his way.
Oh, that was a sweet layoff right there. Got him full speed to the basket.
Gollan's got 14. He averages 8. Jabari Parker.
was determination. Watch Parker on the drive. He made up his mind. I'm taking this. He goes, yeah, he comes up short, but he was not to be denied.
Corsi just picked up his 4th, and Reggie touched on this earlier. He'll not check out. Hallis will come in, but with Monty Brown out, a senior, because of not passing the concussion protocol for Mercer, that really affects the way this Mercer team is when they've got to go now to their 3rd string guy, their big man inside.
And Hallis cannot be a deer in headlights out here under the biggest lights and the biggest stage. And he's going against the freshman player of the year in Jabari Parker.
Hallis just has to play his role, set screens, get to the weak side, and battle for offensive rebounds on the offensive end.
Nice screen here, switch on the D, Hall, Bud Thomas, Hallis, nice pass, Garland. Looked like he got hit on the hand. Here comes Duke. We're approaching 5 to play.
It was the hesitation. If Garland would have went up immediately, I thought he could have gotten the foul on Jabari Parker, but he hesitated.
Hood the screen, opens the door. That's a 3. Thornton was fouled. Wamu picks it up. That means 3 at the stripe for Duke.
I'll tell you what, Wamu played this smartly now. You take a look, he comes over and helps, but then when he goes back to his man, which was Thornton, he makes body contact.
And you've got to allow the offensive player a chance to come down. Verticality, he goes straight up. Wamu goes right into his chest.
Tuesday on CBS, TV's biggest show is On the Case in New Orleans with guest star Scott Bakula. All new NCIS Tuesday at 8/7 Central. Only CBS. Tyler Thornton at the line, the former Washington, D.C. High School Player of the Year, went to Gonzaga High School, and he is a senior.
I like the move here by Coach Hoffman. He's not waiting, understanding every game is sudden death for the Mercer Bears. He gets Daniel Corsi right back in the game with those 4 fouls. Now you have to play smart.
Lenny Duke has made their last 12 consecutive free throws.
Well, you would expect that. They're one of the finest free throw shooting teams in the country, particularly down the stretch.
Corsi got it. Doubled. What a shot. 4.5 to go.
The iron kind for Daniel Corsi.
We're going to wipe some moisture off the floor at the other end.
How about the hands by Daniel Corsi on the roll here in this screen and roll. 2 white jerseys. Now a 3rd comes around. That nice jump hook over his right shoulder. His bread and butter shot.
Corsi averages 10, Lenny, and he's got 14 for the Bears today.
Well, particularly on that shot, sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be good.
Now they're going offense for defense for Daniel Corsi. Hallis back on the floor defensively. So Corsi is not in jeopardy of picking up his 5th.
Good move by Bob Hoffman. But who's going to guard Jabari Parker? Corsi, the Atlantic Sun Defensive Player of the Year. They lose a lot.
Oh, my goodness. Hood just threw it away.
Again, 5 of 22 between Parker and Hood. Miscommunication here between Hood and Thornton. Thornton was acting like he was going to go back door for the back cut. He had Thomas leaning.
Corsi back in for the Bears.
And if you're going to put Corsi back in with 4 fouls in this offense-defense switch, you better use him.
Hall, who averages 15, and he's got 10. Cook is on.
Got him down low, then. They missed him.
Garland, Suleiman is on him. Watching Hall. Rebound Hood. And he's got 5 rebounds for the Devils.
Now if you're Duke, have to be patient offensively. What you have in your hip pocket is Rodney Hood, who has struggled offensively with Parker on the bench now for Duke.
3.5 to go.
Good defense right there. Hall kept Cook away from the basket despite the penetration. Now you got to get up on the shooters.
Shot clock at 5. Suleiman, defended by Thomas. The 3. Missed it all, sails out of bounds. It's a matchup with the 3 seed and the 14 from Raleigh. Duke by 3 on CBS. Look at Mike Krzyzewski. The Blue Devils have been the victim of a couple of recent early round upsets in the tournament. 2007 in Buffalo, Eric Maynard with a jumper and 11 seed, knocking off the 6-seeded Duke Blue Devils. That was BC, and then 2 years ago, Duke again fell in the first game as they lost to the 15th seed Lehigh, 75-70 in Greensboro.
Tell you what, this offensive possession here is huge for the Mercer Bears. We've done a good job of trying to get the ball down low to Daniel Corsi. I would love to see a high screen and roll with him and Hall kind of get active at the offensive end.
Gowan picked up by Hood. White picked up by Thornton. Switching on defense is Duke. White. Hall. Corsi the screen. He'll drive inside. It's a 3 for the tie.
Oh, my goodness.
The pride of Pike High School in Indianapolis. Anthony White Jr. just ties the ball game. 44 made threes on the season.
He's authored a couple of triples today for the Mercer Bears. This 3 right here ties it in Raleigh on CBS. A lot of attention is always given to Jabari Parker of Duke.
Yeah, he sat out the last couple of possessions with foul trouble, but Mike Krzyzewski has to get him in here on the offensive end. And despite shooting 3 of 12 from the field, I think he's still the go-to guy. The last time he scored, he showed a lot of determination to put the ball in the basket.
And I'm not quite sure Hallis can guard him down low as well, especially Hallis in for Corsi with Corsi in the 4 fouls.
Well, Darius Moulton's got him now, and they left him open.
A Parker 3. A rebound by Gowan.
And now if you're Coach Hoffman and Mercer, looks like they're getting ready to call a timeout here to set up an offensive play.
I tell you what, Mercer dodged a bullet on that one.
Look at our reset. Mercer is led by as many as 5. Duke is led by as many as 7. We've had 12 lead changes and 9 ties.
And here's the experience of Mercer and the seniors being able to step up. Remember, well over 100 games, these guys have played together. I like them getting the ball to Corsi. They have no one to answer him down low.
And he's trying to set up nicely. That looked like a trick. Yes, it was.
Picks up the foul. Hood is assessed his 4th for the Blue Devils.
Well, Reggie, you were right. You can tell Corsi's set up low right there, and you see the trip. Not necessarily on purpose, inadvertent, because Hood goes down and Gollum trips over him, but nevertheless, it's still a foul automatically.
We had a long talk with Coach K yesterday, and he says the only problem with us is we're young, and sometimes we get a little nervous.
Here's a little change for Coach Hoffman. With Gollum going to the free throw line, normally it was Hallis going to be at the defensive end, but he comes back with Darius Moulton instead, taken down in size, but a little bit more tougher at the defensive end for the Mercer Bears.
Gollum from the free throw line, and all this half run, he has gone 4 of 4 for Mercer.
Yeah, he's been the guy that's found a way to get to the basket, and his teammates have found him. Once again, it's that experience, knowing how to get open and when to get open.
Mercer trailed 63-58. They've gone on a 7-0 run, leading by 2.
We got Moulton on Hood. We got Gollum on Jabari Parker.
Hood.
Oh, good D, good D.
Trouble. Hood. Turnover.
And that's why Bob Holtman inserted Darius Moulton instead of Hallis at the defensive end to go against Rodney Hood.
Look at the strength.
There's no way Hallis was going to be able to stay with Rodney Hood. Great coaching decision by Coach Hoffman.
You like when they make the coach look good, right? Moulton did an excellent job. His upper body strength was the difference. It was something that Hallis didn't have.
Jefferson for Parker.
And now with the dead ball situation, you get a chance to put Corsi back at the offensive end.
Duke has not hit from the field in 4.5 minutes. And here comes Mercer with the 2-point lead.
He's wide open downstairs. If you're Thomas, you've got to look at the basket.
But Thomas, recognizing his limitations, probably said, let me get it back to Hall.
Oh, what a pass. Mercer!
Oh, my man.
Hood is gone, fouling out with 5.
Thomas made the right decision. Get it to Hall, and Hall gets it to Corsi. Nice, threading the needle. Excellent hands by Corsi. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, here we go. What do you want if you're a team? Do you want experience, a team that has 7 seniors that's played well over 120 games together? Or do you want the 5-star recruits, which Duke has, and a younger team in freshmen and sophomores? Right now, the experience is starting to rise up, Lynn.
I was going to say that had to be a rhetorical question. And you know my answer.
Mercer is on a 9-0 run.
Still plenty of time, 1 minute and 7 seconds. And the way Duke shoots threes, they're never out of it.
Made 14 of 33 today.
Mercer's got their biggest lead and approaching a minute to play.
Rashid Suleiman has 5 of them.
Andre Dawkins is checked in for Duke. He's got it. Number 1 3-point shooter, ACC. Rebound by Moten.
And
off the Hall.
Moten has been huge off the bench in a span of a minute.
Take a look right here. Thomas gives it to Hall, and as the help moved over to try to prevent Hall's penetration, Dorsey found the seam, and Hall found him.
Goes to show you, when you play hard, you play together. Not to say that Duke doesn't do that, but when you have juniors and seniors that play together with one another, anything is possible.
Yeah, the deciding factor was judgment.
What a huge move by Rashid Suleiman, who's been the one defining offensive threat all day.
And that ends an 11-0 run by Mercer.
And right there, the bump, still squared shoulders. You know, that's determination as well. He can make this a one-possession ball game, 46 seconds. With the numbers up there, Duke could get the final shot if they can make a stop.
Cook with 20, Suleiman with 19, 3, 4 in double figures for Mercer.
And it's not like the Duke pressure has not turned over the Mercer Bears.
Oh, on the breakaway, White.
Oh, no! Lack of communication.
How about the pass there by Thomas out of bounds?
Suleiman. Rebound by White, fouled on the play by Matt Jones. Watch the inbound.
This is a team that has done this several times before. We talked about all the seniors on this Mercer Bears team. A great pass by Thomas, not even a dribble here by White Jr. Just picks it right off the deck for the easy 2.
It's just like in football. Cornerbacks can't get up and press unless you know the safety's behind you. There's no free safety back there. And Suleiman was toast.
Anthony White Jr. at the line. 81% free throw shooter. Moten back in for Corsi. There goes Jefferson. And there goes Jones. Dawkins back in.
Well, what did Coach K tell us? The one thing all year that has been a constant theme for his team, lack of communication. And that's freshmen and sophomores that don't talk a lot.
15-3 Mercer run. Half minute to go.
Challenge, but don't foul.
Parker. And a timeout, Duke. The winner here will take on UMass or Tennessee, which comes up next on CBS here from Raleigh. The timeout situation, Mercer with 3, Duke with 1. Both teams are taking 2 shots at the line.
What an advantage to have Thomas taking the ball out of bounds. pretty good passer. Now you got to get it to Hall or White.
Thomas is a good passer, but he's not the guy who
Lost the ball. Cook picks it up, and it's off of Suleiman.
Oh, my goodness.
It's off of Duke.
And I will say this. Mercer was very fortunate they didn't get a foul on Hall right here. Once the ball was stolen, rolling over on Cook right here. The ball is stolen. He easily could have called a foul right there.
Just went right off Suleiman's feet.
This could have been a foul right here. In fact, it should have been a foul right there before the pass to Suleiman.
Mercer has taken a timeout.
Now we're seeing what's happening on the bigger stage.
Of course, he's back in for the Mercer Bears.
Yeah, Bud Thomas taking the ball out. He's only a 38% free throw shooter. The rest of the guys.
Foul, Duke, as Arthur White Jr. grabbed onto it.
He's an 81% free throw shooter. He just knocked down 2.
And he just got his arm pulled, and he was kind of holding that shoulder a little bit. Right there. And the foul called. Give the officials credit. They gave Duke every opportunity to try to take that ball away. Now letting them play.
Junior college transfer, Anthony White Jr. 19.7 to go. Parker back in, Dawkins back in, Jefferson and Jones will leave for Duke.
That's a big missed free throw because now remains 2-possession ball game.
That's an 81% guy at the line.
Duke 14 of 34 from beyond the arc. They need a 3 right here.
Well, you got to get up and challenge. Look at that range.
Suleiman, rebound, Garland knocked away by Parker and a Duke foul. 11.7 to go.
Column 75% from the free throw line.
This is the first tournament that Mercer has been in since 1985. Located in Macon, Georgia, the Atlantic Sun Tournament champions.
Somewhere Sam Mitchell, Nancy Grace are doing cartwheels right now.
5 of 5, Gowan at the line. There's Kelly, Bob Hoffman's wife.
Just like last year, Atlantic Sun Conference is going to rise.
Suleiman, Parker, Gowan. 5 seconds to go.
Well, we were fortunate to call the Florida Gulf Coast on their way and on their track, and now it's the Mercer Bears rising up. This is why you play the ball game. I was so impressed by Coach Hoffman and his approach during practice yesterday. These guys were focused, they were intense.
But once again, you live by the 3, and the 3 cut Duke down the stretch. 14 of 35. More than half of their shots were from beyond the arc.
Cook. Got it. 2/10 to go. Mercer has pulled the upset, and Duke is gone. A 14 has beaten a 3.
What a wild 3 days of the tournament.
Mercer ends the game on a 20-8 run. Duke led by 5 with 4.5 to go. Then Mercer went on an 11-0 run to go up 69-63.
Don't you love this tournament? The fallibility of the favorite up against the underdog's ability to rise to the occasion.
A 13-19 team, and Cal Poly goes to St. Louis, now is facing St. Louis. And how about the Mercer Bears, the heavy underdogs?
And that, my friends, is what it's all about.